we can see a lot of this sun worship iconography here in St. Peter's Basilica. There's a sun over his head, there's the sun in that room, there's the sun in the major stained glass with a dove in it. A dove signifying Semiramses, or the divine feminine, actually. And there it is, just all over this church like crazy. There are sun symbols like crazy everywhere you seem to look. Sun symbols. Christ with the sun encapsulating him, light coming through, sun. There's even one on the back of the Pope's own attire. This sun symbol, though, it's everywhere, all over the religion itself. You can see it. It is a signification of time itself, because it's a day and a day in time. But it also is something that primordially we worshipped as primitive people. We knew that the sun gave us light, kept us away from terrible creatures that can attack us at the night, like lions and creatures and things, and it gave us warmth. And so you see this symbol, and there's a lot of them that have a dove attached to it, and you can see the flying symbol that's in a lot of these motifs, and the winged sun god depiction like Ahura Mazda that is shown. And here Shamash, the sun god, Ra himself, the sun god, and you see it in the phoenix, which is that rises from the ashes, like the sun goes down every day and then they think it rises from the ashes. And you see that on the staves of many of these people, even the wings on the caduceus. And there's a sun symbol with a dove that's inside the chamber here. And you see it also here on the mural. And this dove is definitely a major part of all the iconography they're showing here. Most people don't make a connection out of it, but Semiramis was known as the dove. Supposedly she was the first person to keep pigeons and doves and things along that nature, and so it leaves that iconography too. And you see it later related with Inanna, and Inanna is shown with wings. Catholics, though, they seem to retain a saint worship that they have. They venerated all these saints, and each one has their own little power, of course. Everybody knows about Saint Patrick and chasing away snakes, but also having the power of protecting people and stuff. So you pray and use medallions to different one of these deities that they have, that they venerated, these apostles, and they teach you that they can help you by praying to the dead saints. And I find that to be ironically very similar to the fact in the other religions like Roman and the Olympians, where you had a certain god over certain things that you would pray to, and a major one over all of them. It seems to mimic that again. It's like they couldn't keep from twisting it back into that. And of course, we are talking about the Roman Catholics. So that's where we get a lot of this iconography from. And each one of these stains, it's known as hagiology. They say that it originated in Babylon, and that Babylon had 5,000 gods, and there were plenty to choose from. And that they had every month and every day of the month with under the protection of a particular deity, which the roles of gods back then was divided up. Now this is Akkadian times and Phoenician and stuff, and they had roles of gods divided up for everything that they did. And you find that saints have this same thing for the roles that they do. He's the patron saint of this, he's the patron saint of that. So you want to pray towards the certain one that's associated with their needs, like in the Roman times where they said you wouldn't pray to the god of war for something pertaining to love. And they have ones for epilepsy and skin diseases and all kinds of things. There's a list of them here that they've got of all these saints that you would pray to, for your different ailments, for your different needs and wants and wishes, and then do that through Mother Mary to Jesus, to appeal to him to try to get something done in your favor. And that's their way. So from this common place in Babylon, where the Sumerians had ruled once, and then the Akkadians and Sargon had taken over, and then this new religion had formed, actually, that spread out above the world, that all began from Nimrod being the great warrior before God, and that populated everybody with this idea of the sun worship they already had, with Nimrod, the sun god, who is Mithras in Persia, and he's Saul in Rome, and in Egypt he was Ra or Horus, and that connotation, and Apollo in Greece. So Semiramses in Tammuz in Babylon is Isis and Horus in Egypt, is Venus and Dionysus in Greece, and in Rome is Diana and Attis, Ashtaroth and Tammuz in the Bible, and it all comes from Inanna and Demuzi's story. But you see it echoed all through time, through all of the religions that come out through this area, which is where everything ends up coming from. This mother and child religion that came about through their Trinity, and that was the original Holy Trinity that there was.